Yay!
Hey, hello everyone.
Hello!
Hello and welcome. We are both back this week. It feels like forever
It
since
really
the
does.
two of us have done this because life and Mother Nature and all sorts of things have gotten in the way. But
You had to cut your trip short.
yeah, it is good. It is good to be back. And I hope that everyone, before we say anything else, anyone who was in Florida or the path of the storm, I hope everyone out there is okay. Your loved ones are okay. Your pets, your property. Um, I especially want to say hi to Michael. Michael messaged me as the storm was coming down, and we talked for a little bit. And so I hope that you and your mom uh obviously you're here today, so
Yeah.
you're unless you are a ghost. I'm glad to see that you made it through okay. I know this was your first hurricane and they are pretty freaky. We'll talk about that a little bit in the news as we get into the show itself, but I just wanted to say hi to the rest of our regular listeners. We've got Blossom and Terry. Hello.
Hello.
um Jaden. Hello, Jaden. Uh, Brian out there. I know, you know what? Brian's wondering about New York City Comic Con this weekend. I wish I was just in New York City last weekend, and we'll chat about that in a second, I'm sure. Um, but yes, Charles, thank you.
Thank you.
We are both safe. Good to know that you're good. Good to know that everyone's good, I hope. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are not good. Um, so, um, it feels a little odd to talk about theme parks and stuff, but that's what we're here to do.
Right. It's
So,
a distraction, and I know a lot of
yeah.
people crave normalcy during these times, so.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll definitely touch on that a bit when we get into it. Oh, and John is down here at Disney Springs working.
Ooh.
John, good to see you. John was smart to, I think, not be in town during the hurricane itself. So, all right. Well, I think we are just about in a good place. We got all our regulars checking in. So I think we are going to kick this one off in, if I can find my video clip, in three, two, one.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 159 of the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I'm Seth.
And I'm Carly.
And we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what is going on in our own lives. And boy, I think we have both had pretty exciting lives the last couple of weeks. I was out entirely last time. Thank you for holding down the fort with Theron. My some of my excitement was kind of news in the queue worthy. But yours was also pretty amazing. So why don't you kick it off? Tell folks where you have been lately.
Yes, I am not in my usual surroundings if you're watching us because I am on Dolly Parton's tour bus. So this is a brand new experience at Dollywood where you can actually stay on her latest tour bus, and it's parked outside of the Dreammore Resort, which is their on-site resort, and it is a 2-night, I'll say, true experience because it's not just sleeping on a tour bus. You have concierge, you have park tickets, you have private onboard chef dinners, and it is a little expensive, so I'm not going to lie, but all the money goes to the Imagination Library, which, if you're not familiar, it is Dolly Parton's charity where kids from birth through 5 get 1 book sent to them a month completely for free to the family. So it is eligible for all children in the United States. It's now, I believe, in Australia. They're working on even being more global, but totally free. Any kid can enroll, and it is an amazing organization. So stays here, go to that, bring books to kids.
That's a great cause. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I
wow.
slept with Dolly's.
Just incredible. Yeah, look for a video tour of that on our attractions website coming up, because that is certainly I'd say that's up there with a Galactic Star Cruiser as a once in a lifetime experience, and
Right.
and that's not fictional. Though even though Dolly does kind of sometimes seem like a superhero or a fictional character, sometimes she is real. So that's amazing. So my week, my previous week I was not here because I was up in the New York, New Jersey area visiting family, and I also got to see something really cool, a giant puppet called Little Amal, who represents a refugee, and she has been touring through New York recently, and kind of around the world and across the country. It's an amazing, this girl who is like, I don't know, 12, 15 feet tall, and there's a person inside her, and then people manipulating her arms. And we got to see her in Bryant Park, which is, most people know from Fashion Week. But they had a dance performance and a theatrical performance around her, all for free, and with hundreds, thousands of people there around her. Very much one of those only in New York experiences.
Right.
But then
what
I
did you
had to
do
cut.
today? I went to see a giant puppet.
And I wish I could have spent more time up there. I had to cut my my trip short for Hurricane Ian. Had to rush home and secure the cats, and ride out the storm. And thankfully, no major damage to my house. We only lost power for one day, but I still have friends who have lost power, who have major flooding in their homes. So a lot of damage, a lot of debris still to clean up here in Orlando. So it was a rough and scary couple days. Building up to a hurricane is one of the most anxiety-inducing things you can possibly imagine. And then the storm itself was really slow and really long. So it was basically like a day and a half, almost 2 solid days of getting really beaten by the weather. But I'm still here, and I gotta say, I know there's a lot of argument on social media over whether the parks should have reopened as early as they did. And we'll definitely talk about that in the news.
Right.
But I was very grateful the day after the storm, when I still didn't have power back on, to be able to have my annual pass and go to Disney, to go to Epcot and get a couple good hot meals, since I'd been eating cold sandwiches for a few days. And
Right. And you deserve that mental break. I feel like people
yeah,
are quick
it was
to make the
really
assumption,
helpful.
but it is a mental gymnastics that your brain goes through during a hurricane, and so to be able to have somewhere that felt safe, I think is important.
And I was really grateful. Some of the guests were a little grumpy and on edge, which is understandable.
Right.
But all the cast members that I interacted with that day were just on point. So kudos to
Right.
the employees of the local parks for riding out the storm and then getting back to work, and helping people move forward with trying to get back to normal. And we will definitely talk more about that in just a bit. But I think right now, before we go any further, it is time to get into the news. All right, we're going to start by sweeping those hurricane clouds away with a little bit of happy Christmas time news. The Epcot Candlelight Processional Celebrity Narrators have been announced for this coming year, returning starting on November 25th. And along with favorites like Neil Patrick Harris, we have some great new additions coming to the lineup this year.
Yes, I was really excited, particularly for Samu Liu. I don't know if I ever say his name right. He was just on Celebrity Jeopardy and was hilarious. So when I saw this announcement, I was like, I have to see him because I feel like he is going to absolutely nail this part.
You know what? There is a set script. The orchestra and the singing Christmas tree choir, they were always there doing the same thing every night. But what makes this worth going back to over and over is that each of the narrators, aside from, they take the Christmas story seriously. I doubt he's going to improv with that part of it. But they each have some little segments where they're able to, give a little bit of their personal touch and give their spin to it. And I'm sure he is going to be fantastic. I'm going back on Broadway to Boy George's Taboo, which I think me and Rosie O'Donnell were the only ones who saw. But I've always been a big fan of Raul Esparza.
Yes, me too. I saw that many times on Broadway. It was a travesty that it did not do well. Taboo was amazing. Listen to it. The soundtrack is on Spotify. Loved it.
So Raul Esparza is new this year. Josh Gad, another Broadway veteran turned Disney star, he's back. And Mariska Hargitay. I don't know if she's going to solve a crime maybe on stage, but and then we've got some real all-time classics. Edward James Olmos always does an amazing job of this. Right. Like I mentioned, Neil Patrick Harris, classic. Whoopi Goldberg's returning. Angela Bassett. It's a great lineup this year.
It's like almost all A-listers, which I know they always have a nice mix, but the talent that they got this year is really impressive. So you're guaranteed to see someone really cool.
Isabella Rossellini, Gloria Stefan, she's another new one. I mean, real heavy hitters. So
right. Which I think this year will be, I usually don't do the dining packages, but I think this year you should maybe think about doing it.
You might think about it. October 6th. That is the date that those are going on sale. So if you are interested, you definitely are going to want to check out those dining packages. I also discovered something, and I don't know if anything like this will be around for Christmas, but this was, we probably talked about it on the show, but it was totally new to me. When I was at Epcot, we went into the Florida Blue Medicare Pavilion, which is taken over the old Marrakesh restaurant, and they came around and gave us free wristbands for Eat to the Beat concert. They're like, we have wristbands for the reserved dining section. Do you want them for free? So if there's ever like one of those free private lounges, and for that one, I thought we had to like be a Florida Blue member or something.
Right.
All you do is scan a QR code and fill in your name, and boom, you're in. If nothing else, the cold brew coffee, like you would buy that out in the park for like $6. So
and just that space
totally worth it.
Is gorgeous.
Oh my God.
I love going and just sitting in there, like you said, taking a little break. It's a perfect space.
Yeah. So if one of these people, one of these candlelight processional celebrities are your all-time fave, go ahead, October 6th, hit the website and look into those dining packages. But if you are in the park and looking for one of those concerts, see if there's any of those free lounges going on, and you might luck out.
Right.
All right, next up, Disney After Hours events are coming back for 2023 in Disney World starting in January. January 4th is the first one, and they're going to be held on select nights between January and April 19th at both Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom.
Yes, and these events are basically like, I almost think of it as a park day divided into two. So it is a whole nother way for them to make another separate admission to get in the evening. It is of value if you're interested in going on rides.
Mm.
Mickey's Not So Scary. All those are about the special experiences and not wasting your time on attractions. After hour events are for going on rides with limited capacity.
Right. It's sort of like if they did a party and left out all the
Right.
entertainment and characters that make it a party. Um, I remember back in the day they used to have a thing called e-ticket nights where you could just add on, it was like $20
Mhm.
maybe, 20, $25, and you got to stay an extra 2 or 3 hours in the park. This is pretty much the same sort of thing. You do not have to already have daytime admission to do one of these
Right.
things. That's what sort of makes it like the hard ticket parties, in that you can just buy this event. You get 3 hours after the park closes, plus you can show up 2.5 hours early for a mix-in. So you're basically getting 5.5 hours inside the park.
Right. And the
And
ticket is comparable with a daytime admission anyway. So if you think of it like that, I think it
I,
could work out.
I think, yeah, if you are already an annual pass holder or you've got a DVC, you do get a modest discount on it. But yeah, if you do not, if you're not already getting a discount, you're paying basically the same as you would for the entire, I don't know, 12-hour day during the daytime is what you're paying for 3 hours plus a couple more at night.
Right.
The thing that makes it a good value in theory is the shorter waits. And
But that's in
it,
theory, because you don't know
that's
how
in
much will
theory,
happen.
we don't know how much they will sell. What I will say is what will make it, even if the wait is not necessarily shorter, what will make the lines faster is I do not believe they use any kind of Genie Plus or Lightning Lane during these events. And so that would definitely cut back on the bottlenecks. All right. Well, I think either one of us has dropped out here. I'm going to try something. I am not sure if I'm the one who is frozen or Carly is the one who is frozen. If you're watching in the comments and you can hear me. Oh, Carly just dropped out. We'll see if she comes back. Carly is, as you know, is staying at Dolly Parton's house. Um, okay, glad it's not just me. Carly is going to reboot real quick. Oh, and she's back. Here we go.
Yes, was that me or you?
Yeah, no, that was you. That was you.
No.
So okay, that's okay. That is why we have our crack editor, Jeff. This came in about 18 minutes in, so I will just have him edit this out, and it will be like it never happened.
Perfect.
Unless, of course, you are watching on the YouTube archive, in which you get a glimpse behind the scenes. Well, that's perfect timing because we are just ready to move on to our next story, which is Disney After Hours. Oh no, we just finished that story. Take two. And that is perfect timing because we are just ready to move on to our next story. SeaWorld San Diego announces Arctic Rescue roller coaster, which is opening up in spring of 2023 as the longest and fastest straddle coaster on the West Coast.
Yes, this looks really amazing. I am just really excited for the theming, I think. Awesome. I like straddle coasters just fine. I love the way you're sitting. It's just like you're on a motorcycle. But the theming of this looks really cool. And it's, if you care at all about, the work that SeaWorld is doing, this is kind of embracing all of their, kind of thoughts and feelings towards animals and putting it in a coaster form.
So, yes, the snowmobile style race ride vehicles look suspiciously similar to the ones that are being used for the dark coaster ride that we recently talked about, and that's over at Busch Gardens. So maybe the SeaWorld Busch conglomerate got a discount by
Right.
buying two sets
In bulk.
of snowmobiles. Yeah, buying in bulk. But what really sets this apart is the way they are making the queue and launch station inside
Yes.
the Wild Arctic exhibit. I have not been through the Wild Arctic exhibit in San Diego, but I'm very familiar with the version we have in Orlando. And basically, we had a very mediocre simulator ride that was like a Star Tours knockoff
Right.
that I'm not sure even runs anymore. If it does still run, it probably shouldn't. But then a really cool walkthrough exhibit featuring these gorgeous whales, these white, I think they're beluga whales. Sorry, my dad's a marine biologist, but I am not.
No, not even proud.
Yes, they're belugas. They also have a ring seal and walruses, and these are all threatened animals. And the way they have sculpted that walkthrough, so immersive. But it gets overlooked because the simulator ride is so lame.
Right.
So the idea that they are taking that exhibit and making it into basically a giant pre-show for a roller coaster, I just hope that the animals are insulated from the roller coaster itself, so they don't have to listen or feel those vibrations.
Right.
Can you imagine your house shaking? It's like living next to a subway train. It's like,
That's a really good point. I mean, but if it is done well, if it's executed well, it will be really cool to go in there.
Yeah, so for you coaster nerds, here are the stats: 16-seat trains, up several launches going 34, 38, and 40 miles per hour. Maximum height's only 30 feet. From what I understand, San Diego is very limited in how tall they're allowed to
Right.
build things because they're right there on the coast. So it sounds like it's kind of like a terrain coaster, very, very low to the ground. So I think that's going to be really exciting when that opens up in 2023. And if you want to be the first, their past members are going to be the first to get to ride it.
Yes, that will be really cool. We'll keep an eye out. I was able to visit that walkthrough last year, and it was amazing. So I am fingers crossed they do a great job with it.
Anyway, SeaWorld.com/San-Diego is the place to go for more information about this upcoming coaster. And hopping slightly up the coast to City Walk Hollywood at Universal, there is a new store called Universe. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's UNIVRS, because we don't need vowels.
No.
This is we don't have time for vowels because this is a first of a kind drop culture store dedicated to Universal properties.
Yes, I love this idea when I first heard about it. So basically, it's embracing that kind of streetwear culture, obviously very popular in Los Angeles, where the clothing looks a lot less like the traditional merchandise we're used to and more like actual streetwear that you would wear out and about. So they're going to continue to embrace all different sorts of intellectual properties and continually roll out new merchandise. So it looks really cool.
Yep. And the idea is that this is all limited edition stuff. A lot of it is collaborations or partnerships with pop artists and kind of edgy fashion folk.
Mhm.
And so they're taking favorite characters like Felix the Cat, the Universal Monsters, the Minions, even E.T., and remixing them in modern street style. And the idea, if you see it on the shelf and you like it, you better get it,
Right.
because the selection is going to be constantly rotating. They are having everything from tees and hoodies to tote bags and skate decks, men's, women's, and unisex. Their sizes only go from extra small to 2XL. So there might be some larger guests who get shut out by this. But price ranges are not awful. You're
No.
talking $30 to $100. I know you can spend a lot more on a Dooney or a Loungefly bag. So there should be some stuff that collectors will be able to afford to take home.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
this is a really, really cool idea. I love that Universal's doing it. This is something maybe we would see from Disney. So I really
yeah,
like that they're doing
it
this.
it definitely does sound like a kind of pop up that Disney would do, and they're promising new styles coming in every few months. Some of the early collaborations are with Numbskull's Rubber Road, Kid Robot, Mary Lou Fora, and Samby Pen.
Yeah.
So if you know who those folks are, you are going to want to run over and pick this stuff up and I don't know, resell it on eBay maybe,
Right. No,
or
Universal
buy
Hollywood
two, one for the closet and one to resell on eBay.
Yes, they do a great job of working with Los Angeles-based artists, which I love, and just kind of celebrating Los Angeles culture. Even at Halloween Horror Nights, they have a ton of food menus that are dedicated to like local cuisine. So this is just another extension of what they do to
Mhm.
embrace their location, and I love that.
I'm curious if something like this could work at Universal, either in City Walk or in maybe Universal Studios Florida, where the Williams of Hollywood shop was.
Ooh.
Maybe we get a lot of stuff that's kind of now recently that's been like nostalgic Universal.
Mhm.
So this is maybe like for the other side, like instead of for us Gen X, this is more for the kids.
Yes,
Uh,
the kids,
for the
youth,
kids, for the youth.
youth.
Um, Also, sticking to the West Coast, Knott's Berry Farm has changed their chaperone policy for Knott's Scary Farm, and it's a little controversy. This new policy that kicked in on September 29th and is going to run through the rest of the season. They are still requiring all minors, which means ages 17 and under, to have an adult ages 21 and up with them. However, previously each chaperone could only look after 4 kids. Now the chaperones are allowed to take care of 5 kids, and they get a free ticket for doing so. Um,
Yeah. This was basically I was there opening weekend. This is a direct response to the lack of how busy it was. It was pretty
ah,
quiet opening weekend, and I think they went into a tizzy, but many people predicted, myself included, that they would bring back the frequent pass, what would allow you to come back, like the
mm-hmm.
pass, but they didn't, and this is what they went with. And I don't know. It seems risky with how much we have been talking, unfortunately, about violence and acts of crime that go on in places that should be safe for everyone. So,
Well, I mean, I can kind of understand the incentive, if you had a family that was used to, just getting it for their teenage kids, but, the parents aren't interested and can't afford to buy, one more ticket. I
mhm.
get that, but it almost seems to incentivize strangers to go out and recruit children. It's
The
like,
grabber,
yeah, it's like, come on, kids, come to a theme park with me.
right?
It'll be great. Yeah, because as far as I know, there's no requirement that the adult have any relationship to the minors.
No.
It doesn't say they have to be their guardian or parent, just that it has to be an adult. So that could get awkward.
And
And
also the age gap. I mean, I don't know. When I was 17, I definitely would hang out with friends that would be older or someone's older brother or sister. So I feel like the
sure.
age is a little, are they really? I don't know. Are they chaperones? I don't know.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing, that I'm not sure what their definition of a chaperone is, because the rules say that they have to accompany their party as they enter, and the chaperone has to stay in the park. It does not say that the chaperone has to stay with the minors. So technically, you can walk into the park with them. Can go off. I don't know, drink. I don't know if they sell
Calico
alcohol during that
Saloon.
part, but
You go to
you
the
can go drink
saloon.
root beer, and the kids can go run wild. And the only qualification is that the chaperone has to have a phone. And it says that if a minor is found and the minor can't contact their chaperone, then the minor is subject to ejection. It doesn't say that the entire party is subject to ejection or the chaperone,
Right.
just the minor who can't contact their chaperone. So I don't know how that solves the problems.
I mean, I
It,
don't think we can solve the problem because it goes so far deep from just theme park rules.
yeah.
So it's a mess. I just want people to feel safe, because theme parks are that place that you should feel safe. So I hope, between this and the bag policy, that was also very controversial because the bag policy now is basically the size of a large wallet.
Yes.
They're trying, they really are trying. So I like to see that, but hopefully this is a solution that works.
Yeah, no, I agree. Maybe all of these parks implementing small bag policies will inspire women's fashion to bring back pockets finally. Like that could be a win for all of us.
Right.
All right. I'm sorry if you want to feel safe in a theme park, but we have another story that we have to talk about, which was Kennywood security enhancements implemented following last weekend's shooting during Phantom Fest. In response to that incident, they are going to have additional police officers, a new bag check policy, and an updated chaperone policy. Just to recap, there was a shooting inside the park on Saturday during their Halloween event. No fatalities. I believe there were 3 injuries. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I believe so.
The weapon was recovered. The shooter was not recovered or captured. And as far as I know, they do not know at this point exactly how the gun got in, who did it. There were rumors that it was about a fight between 2 groups, but they don't have any reason to believe the people who actually got shot were involved in a fight. It's a mess.
It was a mess.
It's a mess.
If you've been to Kennywood, you know that there are definitely ways that you can get a weapon in because of the parameter, the way their fencing is.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see that they actually listened and thought about that feedback, because that's what a lot of people were,
Finally,
surmising. So one of the big security enhancement is they are paying attention to the perimeter, and that included cutting down some of the trees, and that's going to give them a better, sight line to see what's really going on. And I'm sure cameras probably couldn't catch anything if there were even any looking at the direction. So hopefully now, with the trees down and stuff, that will help that aspect.
Yeah, I think that is a very important thing to look at. They're also doubling the number of contracted cops that they've got in the park. Now their chaperone policy has been clarified to say that they must stay with minors must stay with their adults at all times.
Good, yeah, that's good.
So that's good. And they're kind of explaining a little bit more about their security system, and so I've seen some back and forth on social media regarding Evolve, which is the contactless screening system that they use. Disney uses it. It's increasingly popular. They had it at Museum of Modern Art in Manhattan when I was there the other day.
Right.
So
this is the one that also is used in sports stadiums, I believe. That's the system.
Right. And the idea is that it is using, I believe it's magnetic resonance, not necessarily X-ray. They're kind of cagey about the exact technology, but it uses cameras and artificial intelligence to flag people to be pulled out and have their bags checked. But it avoids having to, you don't have to take stuff out of your pockets. You don't have to put things on a conveyor belt. So it definitely keeps people flowing a lot faster. If you've been to Disney, Walt Disney World, and seen it in action, it's a lot quicker than the old system. But there's been questions over, well, is that as secure? Can they really be checking? There's an interview that I did with the Evolve CEO when they first came to Walt Disney World. So I encourage you to check that out, and I'm personally reserving my judgment until they have some investigation that determines, because to me it seems like it would be more likely that this gun got tossed in over a fence than it got walked in past security.
Right.
But that's just I'm not an expert on Kennywood at all, so that's just my gut. Anyway, the last note is that they are clarifying that you cannot wear masks unless it is an N95 or KN95 for COVID.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a disturbing situation, obviously, but Fandom Fest is still going to go on through October 30th. So, our thoughts to the victims, and best of luck to anyone who attends, I guess.
Yes.
Hey, I like talking about Halloween events with fake violence and fake blood.
Yes, please. Send the grabber after me or Michael Myers, please. I don't want this realistic.
Right? Okay, well, let's move up to something a little more exciting, something a little closer to you. The world's first launch flume coaster is coming to SeaWorld San Antonio in 2023. And this is going to be a world's first record-breaking ride.
Yes, this looks really cool. So think of a traditional, we see water coasters all the time at water parks, but now this is a water flume coaster, which I love flume rides. I think they're just a good classic attraction. So to be able to combine this with that kind of water coaster technology, I think this could be really cool and warrant a visit for us there.
Yeah, it's a bunch of firsts. It is like I said, the first launched flume coaster. It's also the steepest flume coaster with a 53-degree drop.
Ooh.
And it's got what they're calling North America's only vertical lift flume coaster that's going to shoot you up at 7 feet per second. I'm curious exactly how they define that, because I thought there was a version of Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld parks that had like a vertical elevator lift. But
there's also one at Silver Dollar City. If you've ever gone on their, basically like the River Rampage ride, you're in the circular thing. They have a vertical lift elevator, but I think they're distincting this here by saying the first vertical lift flume coaster.
Flume coaster. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Well, whatever they want to call it, the launch is going to hit 30 feet per second, which according to Siri on my iPhone is about 20 miles per hour. And the splashdown at the end is going to hit about 37 miles an hour with a full ride duration of 5 minutes. So it should be a decent length ride. This is not a Splash Mountain, but then again, Splash Mountain soon isn't Splash Mountain.
Right.
It does,
really cool.
it does hit a height of 55 feet. So it's you should get some decent views at the top before you hit the bottom.
Right. And you're in San Antonio where it feels like you're on the surface of the sun in the summer. Well, actually,
Oh yeah.
like half of the year. So I can imagine that whatever splashes you get of water will be chef's kiss. Amazing.
Yes, absolutely. This will be a very popular ride
Yeah.
in the Texas heat. Catapult Falls is going to debut in 2023, and they haven't announced the official plans, but there will be previews for pass members before it opens. Okay, and we're going to close out the news in the queue with one more wet ride. This one is Riptide Race Dueling Pipeline Water Slide, which is going to open at Water Country USA in Williamsburg, Virginia in 2023.
Yes, I'm not familiar with this park, so I was excited that we had this in here and it got me to look it up a little. It also makes me nostalgic for river country. So every time I think water country, I get a
Yeah.
little sad, but
Yeah, Water Country USA, and I believe there was a sister Water Country here in Orlando way back in the day that was a competitor to Wet and Wild.
oh,
Um, that's going back, I think, to the 90s or even the late 80s. But this one is still going strong, and it's the kind of the water sister park to Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
mhm.
I haven't been there since probably the year it opened, but it's grown into a fun park. And this ride, which is going to open on Saturday, May 13th, which is the kickoff of the 2023 season, is kind of I don't know if it's going to be an exact clone, but it's going to be similar to the Riptide Race water slide that we have here in Orlando at Aquatica.
Oh, yes. And you're going to start on a 54-foot tower, which
Hmm.
that's pretty high.
Yep. Yeah.
Got a lot of steps if you're going on
Yeah.
that.
54 feet up, and each little raft is going to hold 2 people. The course is 520 feet long, but what kind of sets this apart is that the wall in between the 2 slides is designed to be low enough that you can see across.
Mhm.
A lot of these dueling water slides, you can never see the person
No.
you're racing against. This is designed so that you kind of see, oh, who's going faster, who's, and then it goes down to the wire finish at the end.
Yeah, this looks really cool. It's going to have a 42-inch height requirement, so this can be, pretty family friendly.
Hmm. Yep. If you want a little preview on our YouTube channel, we've got a video of the Aquatica Orlando version. And you get excited for the opening in Williamsburg next May.
Yes.
All right. That brings us to the end of our news in the queue. But before we launch into this week's wet and windy main attraction, it is time for us to hear a quick word from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MouseFan Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction!
Ooh, he had a lot of enthusiasm in his voice for this.
We love Greg. Yes, so the main attraction this week, if you couldn't guess, Hurricane Ian. Theme parks and attractions in the Orlando area closing and then reopening again for the storm. It kind of came down to the wire. We didn't get official information about closures on a lot of these parks until 24 or even 48 hours out. We've over the years, those of us in Central Florida have seen multiple times where we've had storms scheduled to come straight across, and it turns, it hooks, it dissipates, and we had that happen just a few years ago. So, big businesses are very reluctant to tell people to cancel vacations or shut down parks. It's very expensive to do,
Right.
but it was necessary this time.
Absolutely.
It
And
was 100% needed. You could
yeah,
not
and like you
operate a
said,
theme park in that.
yeah, like, we grew up in the Northeast where we had that all the time happen. I grew up in a beach town, hurricanes coming. It's no reason to cancel your plan. So I don't fault anyone that went through with their plans because there's
Right.
oftentimes the majority it's overhyped and nothing comes to fruition from it. So I will say it was the Walt Disney World Resort cast members looked like they did an absolutely incredible job
Hmm.
at keeping the magic alive for those families that were on vacation and trying to do have a little fun.
Yeah. The employees of all of the local resorts, I mean, yes, from Walt Disney World all the way down to Gatorland, where Gatorland had extensive flooding, and I know their staff has been working overtime to make sure all the animals are okay. Hope all the gators are present and
Right.
accounted for. None of them are, swimming down to Fun Spot or Old Town. Uh,
Right.
but no, seriously, like SeaWorld, their employees making sure all the animals are okay. The staff, I've heard lots of stories of staff going above and beyond. Um, and just anecdotally, what I've heard from guests who were trapped here, a lot of mostly guests who were genuinely trapped here because either they were on vacation,
Right.
and the airport shut everything down. You were not flying out. I managed to get one of the last flights coming in before everything closed down. So either people from out of town who are trapped here, or people who lived locally and did not have a safe home to stay in. And the best solution in a lot of cases was to go to a resort hotel because they're more secure than a lot of people's houses. Some people were voluntarily trapped for social
Mm,
media likes and
mum's the
content
word.
creation.
Yeah.
Not gonna get it. Not gonna go there. But here's what I did hear anecdotally: people who were staying on Disney property got taken care of amazingly well by Disney. I think they learned their lesson when a few years ago they were selling boxed dinners for like
Yes.
$35,
Right.
and it was like disgusting. So
Mhm.
now, I mean, it wasn't great, but it was at least $5 or $6 or $7 this time
Right.
around
Yes.
instead of trying to gouge people.
Yeah, and they were offering Bulma. I think it was $10 or $15. I saw someone
That's
post. So
amazing. Yeah.
you're right. They
That's
did
cool.
learn their
They
lesson
learned their
because
lesson for that. Same thing, people who were staying on site at Universal.
Mhm.
They had characters at Universal. They kept the bars open. They kept food going. Um, On-site guests were really well taken care of. I did talk to some people who had been staying off-site, like they staying off-site at a motel, and they survived. They made it through, but like they were planning on going to Universal the next day, and Universal the first day after they reopened, they're like, we are only allowing on-site guests in here, and uh, I heard if you tried to get through to a theme park customer service on a telephone during the storm, uh, good luck to you because
Right.
you were
No.
just on hold forever and like they couldn't help you. Email them, please.
Right.
Now that it's over, send an email and they will take care of you. But yeah,
You'll
if
get your
you were,
refund, you
you
don't
will
wanna
get your
bog
refund.
down
But
the
I
line.
I
Yeah.
heard from a lot of people who are very frustrated, and it's like I mean, it's the middle of a hurricane, and I'm sorry that you can't pick up the phone and instantly get through to someone
Right.
to fix it for you, but they will take care of you if you email them now. So, um, real briefly, just to run through, Walt Disney World, everything was back to normal operation
Mhm.
on Saturday, October 1st. Um, they still have the mini golf closed. And they had closed Fort Wilderness Resort and the Copper Creek Canyons, the Treehouse Village, things that were really vulnerable. But at this point, everything is back to normal operations. Universal still has a few rides that are out of commission. Yes, there is a hole ripped in the side of Jurassic Park River Adventure. Yes, people are riding River Adventure anyway today. Dudley Do Right is down. I believe Kang and Kodos is down. I think that one might have gotten flooded because that's right there on the water. A couple other minor attractions. Hulk was down, but I believe is either back up already or coming back up.
And the Halloween Horror Nights houses looked like they fared well. I think it was just some food booths, like the built-out structures that had some damage.
So actually, the what they did is they disassembled.
Oh, okay.
I believe every single one. I don't know. There was one or two they couldn't get to in time, but they took all those back down. I don't know if they've gotten them all back up again. That crew has got to be exhausted. They all need back massages or something because they've just been screwing and unscrewing things all day. But the haunted houses, from what I hear, they were, did a fantastic job getting them all back up and running for Friday night. So kudos to those teams for bringing everything back together. Elsewhere across the region, Busch Gardens, obviously in Tampa, it stayed closed for an extra day. The Orlando parks were basically closed Wednesday and Thursday and back open Friday. But Busch Gardens came back up on Saturday, as did SeaWorld. Legoland back up on Saturday. And amazingly, the Tampa Zoo and the Museum of Science Industry all resumed normal operation. The only thing that I have not seen a reopening on yet is the wheel at Icon Park. I assume that they have to do a thorough inspection of that to make sure everything's okay before they'll put people back on it. But our editor Matt, I think, was the luckiest hurricane refugee of them all.
Yes, he was. I mean, you never want to use the word jealousy when talking about a hurricane, but his short voyage on the Wish was extended, and along with many people, were very jealous of him and Jackie.
Yeah, Matt and Jackie, our publisher. They were was supposed to be just a tiny little cruise on the brand new Wish, and they were in the middle of dinner in the Arundel Theater, and the captain breaks in to announce, "Oh well, you get an extra couple days free because we can't get back to port." I'm sure that there were people who with pets or kids or something that could have been a terrible inconvenience, but I mean, if you're going to ride out a hurricane anywhere, that's the place to do it.
Oh, yes.
For sure.
It is just, since it's a brand new ship, like I didn't get any sort of motion sickness on it. So if I was going to be stuck on a cruise at choppy weather and sea, I mean, this is the ship to be stuck on.
I have a friend who was actually also out on a cruise on the MSC Divina, and the exact same thing happened to them. They got an extra free 2-day cruise. So, hey, you want to roll the dice, schedule a cruise during hurricane season.
Right.
And now, unfortunately, it also means that people right after them got canceled or rescheduled. So, you win some and you lose some.
Correct.
Well, if you are still suffering from the hurricane, or someone that is in need of shelter, I know here in Orlando, you can dial the non-emergency 311 system to get connected with services. There are a bunch of organizations that you can donate or volunteer with. And our thoughts go out to everyone who was affected by it. My mom's house is in Cape Coral, and she got hit pretty hard. Her neighborhood's rough, but luckily everyone, my family is okay, and I hope your family is okay too.
Yes, and just thinking of everyone, and if you use attractions for a nice distraction,
Yep,
that's why we're here.
Yeah, I know it's hard to when you're surrounded by such a serious situation. You feel guilty for not
Yeah.
constantly be doing something productive or helpful. But you also gotta think about your own mental health, and it's okay to take a break and relieve some stress for a minute. So if you want to come to us for that, we appreciate it. And we just want to, before we go, of course, thank our sponsor, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel once again. Thank all of you for listening, and thank you for please giving us a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. If you need more distractions during the week, we are here for you. Carly, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Yes, I am on Twitter at Carly Caramana and Instagram at Adventures by Carly.
You can find me personally at the UG series on Twitter, at the Unofficial Guides on Instagram, and at theunofficialguides.com, where my brand new unofficial guides to Disneyland and Universal are available. And the whole Attractions Magazine family is here for you at attractionsmagazine.com, at Attractions on Twitter, at Attractions Magazine on Instagram, youtube.com/attractionsmagazine, and on TikTok at Attractions. And until next week, I hope that you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you all again next time. Bye.
Bye.